Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to share with you how building a strong HR cohort can create significant value and how we can support you in this journey. Here's what we'll cover today. First, portfolio company HR cohorts. We'll discuss what they are, their purpose, and how to optimize their effectiveness. And second, our go-to HR support. The specific ways we can help with technical and operational HR issues. Let's start by defining what we mean by portfolio company HR cohorts. These are essentially communities of practice that foster learning and development among HR professionals from various companies. The benefits of these cohorts are substantial. Building connections. They provide a platform to connect with peers, expanding your network and support system. Creating a sense of belonging. By being part of a cohort, members often feel a greater sense of engagement and motivation. Encouraging collaboration. These groups are excellent for sharing lessons learned and best practices, which helps in addressing common challenges. Providing a safety net. They offer a supportive environment to manage and adapt to changes effectively. Promoting accountability. Membership in a cohort encourages personal accountability and drives improved performance across the board. To maximize the value of an HR cohort, here are some best practices for optimization. 1. Establish clear purpose and expectations. Define what the cohort aims to achieve. Clear objectives help keep everyone aligned and focused. 2. Create opportunities for interaction. Facilitate meaningful discussions and networking opportunities among members. 3. Design real-world content. Tailor the content to address actual challenges and scenarios that members face. 4. Maintain engagement. Keep the cohort active with regular touchpoints and activities to sustain interest and involvement. 5. Include calls to action. Encourage members to implement what they learn and share their experiences. 6. Seek feedback and iterate. Regularly collect feedback to refine and improve the cohort experience. You might be asking why Growth Operators is the right partner for you. Since our founding in 2010, we've grown through various stages, including mergers and rebranding, to become a leader in our field. Our expertise spans over 20 industries, including healthcare, manufacturing, and technology. We pride ourselves on being hands-on and efficient. Our team approach ensures that we bring the right skills and tools exactly when needed. Whether it's interim management or specialized advisory services, we tailor our solutions to fit your specific needs. Here's a snapshot of the specialized services we offer. In advisory services, our expertise includes anything from process improvement, compensation strategy, policy development, and more. For interim management, we provide CFOs to CHROs and other interim leadership to bridge gaps. Our distinguished teams provide finance and HR team solutions, not just consultants. We have a deep knowledge of company needs. We also form and facilitate cohorts. Find, create, and deliver content that addresses practical challenges faced by your team. Our focus at Growth Operators is on enhancing HR capabilities by starting or supporting portfolio company HR and finance cohorts. We aim to level up your talent through expert coaching and mentoring, while also providing direct support for technical, operational, and talent needs. Next, we will cover enhancing benefits to recruit and retain top talent with Jessica Dawkin and setting a strong DEIB foundation with Melissa Bryan. Enjoy these valuable strategies to elevate your HR practices.
Hello. Thank you for joining me today for Enhance Your Benefits, Recruit and Retain with Confidence. I'm Jessica Dawkin. I'm a partner at Growth Operators. We are based in downtown Minneapolis, founded in 2010. We provide human resources and accounting and finance support. We have just over 65 employees in our company, and all of them are W-2 employees. So we are not a contract shop. In other words, we have dedicated employees that do interim, fractional, and project-based work in both HR and accounting and finance. Everything from HR admin to CHRO and accountant to CFO. I've been leading HR teams for over 20 years And I joined Growth Operators in 2017 to start the HR practice for the firm. I have my master's in HR management and my SPHR certification. Today, I'll be walking you through how to leverage benefits to recruit and retain, trends in benefits and perks, a case study, and the importance of a broker partnership. Let's start with the importance of benefits. How important are benefits to current employees? How important are benefits to candidates? Undeniably, for candidates, benefits are in the top three. The order of importance can vary by generation, but largely we see the following priorities hit the top ones for candidates when they're searching for their next job opportunity: benefits, compensation, work life balance, culture, and career and skill set development. It's not surprising then that as candidates become employees, benefits continue to be a very important tool for retention. Employees expect, at a minimum, that their benefits aren't going to go backward after they join the company, and ideally, that they will improve over time. In terms of going backward, what it means to most employees is that their costs would be going up if they're going backward, so to speak, that their deductible and out of pocket max has gone up, and or that their benefits have decreased. In some instances, the network it has narrowed since they've joined the company. Prescription costs have gone up. Any increases in costs, deductibles, out of pocket expenses, and reduced benefits, it signals to employees that the company doesn't care about them. Any changes in this regard drive a negative perception of company culture. And I would say employees more than ever today are very savvy consumers and have a high level of awareness about total compensation and know that benefits are a big part of their total compensation package, and it's something they look very closely at. As an HR leader, I tend to think about benefits in two categories to delineate between core benefits that are medical in nature, that require open enrollment, and are typically handled through close partnership with benefits broker. And then I think about another category I refer to as perks, which is all the other stuff. So you'll see here a reference to core benefits and perks delineated from one another. There's so much to keep track of that I find it helpful to break it out in this way and to socialize it this way with employees too. But generally, do candidates and employees think about it in this way? No, absolutely not. To most people, all of these things are just benefits, air quotes. And the core, so to speak, is just a pay to play type of category. This is the bare minimum that candidates and employees expect. While it's very expensive for us as employers, it's the minimum bar to meet. In a competitive candidate landscape, they want the best of all the things, which brings us to recruitment and retention. Let's take a look at what trends we're seeing with benefits today. On the medical side, we see employers looking at alternative funding solutions for their employer sponsored medical plans. Year after year, medical rates go up and up. So employers are struggling to figure out how to bring those costs down. One way employers are trying to do this is through creative funding mechanisms for their plans. CRES, as an example, doing level self-funded plans, captives, direct access type programs, unique provider arrangements, bundling, if you will, the medical and prescription coverage for employees, and looking at unique solutions for providing that coverage. On the dental side, you often see two dental plans offered, one with and one without ortho, in an effort to bring costs down, but also make sure that employees have the coverage that they indeed want to have without paying additional for unnecessary coverage. So a couple of trends there to share on the medical and dental front. Then if we look at trends in perks, we're seeing a lot more flexible PTO in place of accrual type programs or unlimited PTO. We're seeing increased parental leave programs, full week off between Christmas and New Year's, increases in charitable match, some home office setup money for those environments where employees are working remotely, monthly cell phone and Wi-Fi reimbursement, medical travel reimbursement, and wellness reimbursement. These are really common perks we're seeing in the workplace today. And for employers who are not offering these things, it may look to a candidate or an employee like they're a bit behind the times. Let's take a look at a case study example. I was the fractional head of HR for Meat Eater for 2 years. And during that time, we undertook a concerted effort to reevaluate our core benefit, and perk offerings. Naturally, we had a budget within which to work. There is a limit to what we as HR people and executives can do, but we wanted to create benefits and perks that aligned with the mission and vision of our organization. One way in which we did this was by building in an outdoor activity component of our annual bonus plan that was tied to an individual's pursuit in the outdoors, a goal that they set for themselves that really tied to the ethos of what the company is about. We provided employee store discounts, and in doing so, employees often wore our branded merchandise, which is a form of advertising for the company. So that's a win. As a company that encourages employees to be in the outdoors and experience the outdoors, we felt that it was important to provide them with reimbursement on hunting and fishing tags. So we implemented an up to $100 a year reimbursement program, parental leave for 8 weeks, stock options for new hires. So everyone has a stake in the company, holiday break, charitable match. And in this charitable match framework, we came up with 12 conservation and hunting related nonprofit organizations that we would match so that the organizations employees were donating to, again, aligned with the ethos of the company. Cell phone stipend, because cell phones were the primary communication method for employees in the company. For a lot of companies, a desk phone is no longer a thing. So employees find themselves using their personal phone for work. A referral bonus, partnership discounts with Friends of Meat Eater companies, and a dog friendly office. During my time at Meat Eater, we went from offering basic core benefits to employees to a build out of a full set of perks, giving employees a well rounded, robust feeling around their full suite of benefits that aligned with the culture. While a lot of this work was done just through sheer creativity and problem solving, some of this work we needed to have a partner help us with. And that's a great segue for me to talk about benefit brokers. If you haven't used a benefit broker before, it's important to understand what they are and how to best pick a partner for your organization. Benefit brokers are licensed insurance professionals who specialize specifically in employee benefit brokerage services. They know what programs are available, which vendors provide them, how they're priced. You should look for one that is agnostic, not favoring any specific company. They should be looking out for your best interests. They can help you gather data and analyze the information and ultimately help you decide what to offer your employees within your budget. They should support your organization with benefits implementation, open enrollment, and resolving employee issues. Benefits brokers are a very close partner for the HR team, and it should feel like they are a part of your team. They get paid a commission on the plans that you select, so you're not paying them directly. Their fees are really built into the carrier cost based on the carrier that you select. There are a lot of brokers out there. Some are small brokers, some are large brokers. Larger brokers can offer clients a full suite of support, everything from trading opportunities to an HR hotline, online enrollment portals, legal counsel. They have a ton of resources. However, a larger broker may tend to give their attention to larger clients. I find that for small and medium-sized businesses, smaller brokers can often offer more hands-on support when it comes to employee and turning around answers to questions faster, but maybe they have fewer bells and whistles. So these are some of the things that you need to weigh when you're interviewing benefit brokers and trying to find the right fit for your organization. Life is too short to work with people you don't like and or who don't do a good job for you. So my advice when looking for a broker is find the right fit. There are a lot of them out there. So keep looking until you find folks that you feel good about. Expect them to be proactive, not reactive. You want someone who is really there to remind you, hey, this is new legislation that's just come through. Here's how this impacts your group, things that you need to do in terms of compliance. They should be helping you through all of that and providing you with all the resources that they can. Through a close partnership with a benefit broker, you can leverage benefits to recruit and retain. Studying trends in benefits and perks will help to make you more competitive, and leveraging case studies like the meat eater example may give you some fresh ideas for how to level up your benefits. If you would like to continue this conversation or explore additional HR topics, please don't hesitate to contact me via phone or email. The Growth Operators team of HR experts looks forward to being a part of your support network. Thank you for sharing your time with me today.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Melissa Bryan, Managing Director in the HR practice at Growth Operators. My background is in leading HR teams and partnering with business leaders to achieve organizational improvements by identifying and executing innovative and practical solutions to address complex business challenges. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging has been a personal passion of mine even before I'd heard of the acronym and understood what it meant. It's my pleasure to talk with you about it today. But before we start, a little about Growth Operators. Growth Operators, a professional services firm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was founded in 2010 by CEO and visionary Rick Nordvold. We're a finance, accounting, and HR consulting firm, providing interim, fractional, and project-based services to clients in need of short-term, additional, or supplemental support. We offer a unique team-based approach that aligns the right level of support to the right work at the right time in order to help transform your organization to achieve maximum growth. The topic for today's presentation is Level Setting DEIB, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. We'll discuss the definitions of each component to first ensure a common understanding. Next, I'll provide some context as to why it matters by introducing several key drivers and objectives. And finally, I'll present a couple models that might be helpful in determining why and how to engage in related efforts to help your respective workforces and businesses achieve success, given your unique stage of DEIB maturity, business stage of growth, and your current and future challenges. So, what is it all about? DEI and B, four separate concepts that together create the acronym. First, diversity. This refers to demographics, including characteristics like gender, age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, location, nationality, disability status, and more. The wider the range of these demographics, the more diverse your organization is. Equity. An equitable organization means that every employee receives equal opportunities, is treated fairly, and has the resources they need to succeed in their job, regardless of their background and uniqueness. Inclusion. An inclusive environment means that all employees are treated with respect and care, despite any differences, and consistent efforts are made to support and nurture diverse employees, resulting in all feeling welcomed, valued, and heard. And finally, belonging is the intersection of diversity and representation, equity and inclusion, resulting in all employees feeling accepted, valued, and heard at work. Belonging is about feeling psychologically and physically safe at work, and where every team member is comfortable expressing themselves without fear of judgment or retribution. The key difference between inclusion and belonging is that the former is what the company does to include, and belonging is how employees feel. Belonging is essential to DEIB because it addresses the extent to which employees want to stay with the company and to what extent they thrive. So why does it matter? My view is it matters because it's the right thing to do, but it also matters because it translates into positive business results in the form of broadening your talent pool, boosting employee engagement, increasing retention rates, helping your employer branding, and improving bias awareness in general. So let's take a closer look at the data from recent studies from leading experts. Broadening your talent pool. If an employer can actively demonstrate their commitment to DEIB, Millennial and Gen Z candidates are more likely to apply to work for them. A recent Ernst & Young survey found that 73% of Gen Z and 68% of millennials would choose a company that prioritizes DEIB over one that does not. Employee engagement. When an employee feels included in a team and valued, they're much more likely to go the extra mile at work. That motivates their colleagues to do the same, increasing the overall levels of engagement throughout your workforce. CNBC conducted a workforce survey which showed that 80% of employees expect their leadership team to implement and improve DEIB initiatives to create meaningful change at work. Productivity. When employees feel safe and comfortable and they're supported at work, they do perform better. The Achievers Workforce Institute found 45% of respondents to their survey with a strong sense of belonging say that they are at their most productive self at work. Only 6% of those with a low sense of belonging say that. Similarly, Better Up reports that strong DEIB initiatives can result in a 56% increase in job performance and a 75% decrease in sick days. Gartner found that inclusive teams perform up to 30% better than non-inclusive teams. And a recent McKinsey study showed that companies in the top quartile for diversity are 36% more likely to outperform their industry's median's financial returns. Retention. Achievers Workforce Institute found that 40% of respondents with a strong sense of belonging rarely think about looking for a job elsewhere, versus 5% of respondents with a low sense of belonging. Better Up found that DEIB initiatives can lead to a 50% reduction in turnover risk. Employer branding. 51% of respondents with a strong sense of belonging would recommend their company as a great place to work, versus 4% of those with a low sense of belonging. And DEIB initiatives can lead to a 167% increase in employee net promoter score, or the extent to which an employee will promote their company to their family and friends. And finally, bias awareness. Implementing DEIB initiatives in the workplace helps make everyone more aware of unconscious bias, whether it's during the recruitment process, when giving raises and promotions, in performance reviews, and more. If we can understand it, we can manage it. So where to start and end? DEIB discussion and efforts have been around for several years, ebbing and flowing in focus through time, commonly in response to social justice issues like the aftermath of George Floyd's murder in 2020. But many companies find their focus and efforts just beginning, or struggling to take hold, or even declining, and wonder why. This model outlines the 5 stages of DEIB maturity and suggests that by determining and understanding the stage at which your company is in, often determined by the unique context in which your company operates, growth stage, challenges, market dynamics, competition, etc., you can focus your energies and resources on the right activities, making your DEIB efforts more successful and more likely that they'll keep progressing over time. But depending on your unique business circumstances, you may stay at one stage or move back and forth between or among just some of them. Let's start by discussing each stage. The first, the awareness stage. Typically, a company at this stage experiences some kind of trigger, like a lawsuit, either a payout or a consent decree. Maybe it's social justice or unrest that affects their employees or their organization or their customers. All of these things can create awareness. Two common examples: successful, longer established organizations that have never prioritized DEIB, or startups so deeply focused on survival or growth that they haven't focused on creating strong human capital practices yet. You might find yourself at this stage. The next stage is the compliant stage. So these companies do DEIB because they have to. They're required to meet industry and government requirements for diversity, like EEOC laws, or may have agreed to certain settlement terms of DEI-related lawsuits. Some companies might pursue voluntary compliance by comparing their DEI goals with those of competitors. Perhaps your company is at this stage. The next is tactical, or the tactical stage. Companies at this stage have moved beyond the compliance stage and are engaged in executing their own DEIB initiatives, which tend to be more bottoms-up or grassroots efforts. Companies at this stage are formulating their DEIB strategy and trying to change their culture, often through uncoordinated and grassroots efforts by employee resource groups, individual teams, and individual managers, who are acting more autonomously and less dependent on top-down. Improving DEIB is infiltrating individual, group, and organizational thought and decision-making. But a strategic DEIB strategy that drives the whole business is still lacking. Next is the integrated stage. Companies in this stage can truly say DEIB is a part of what we do. They have aligned internal and external efforts and connected top to down and bottom up efforts. It has reached the integrated stage. An integrated organization has defined its DEIB strategy, developed a culture of inclusion, and taken a close look at the impacts of discrimination and inequity across its internal and external stakeholders, seeking to address those challenges. And finally, the next stage is sustainable. DEIB is encoded in the way that the company works so that it persists beyond leadership changes, economic challenges, or the current market cycle. The company at this stage has built programming that removes the burden of continuing the drumbeat for DEIB from the shoulders of people in underrepresented communities themselves. Companies at this stage challenge the status quo and do things that simply weren't done before. They also regularly evaluate the effectiveness of what they're trying to do and its impact on their people and the business overall. So where to start and end? Once you identify where your company is in the model, you'll have a better understanding on what to focus. At the various stages, which by definition are not linear, you can ask yourself these questions. At the awareness stage, questions to ask are, what does DEIB even mean to us? What are we trying to address and accomplish? For example, is it diversity of our workforce that we're trying to achieve? Is it having a better relationship with our community? Is it about building a more inclusive culture? Or is it about fixing our brand's reputation? Just what? At the compliance stage, you can ask, what rules and regulations are we subject to? How do we ensure that we do what is required? A third of all companies, according to Slack's Future Forum 2022 survey, fall into this category. And it's foundational to spark next levels of maturity. In other words, get the basics right first. However, many companies do remain at this stage, which may or may not make sense, given your company's unique dynamics and stage of growth. At the tactical stage, questions to ask are, where can we set goals that are bigger than our compliance targets? How can DEI help us to meet our goals? Achieving this stage can be challenging because it requires the wholehearted buy-in of senior executives and managers who may never have experienced the kinds of discrimination, inequities, exclusion of others to support the efforts. DEIB efforts at this stage are directly linked to your organization's specific mission, values, and goals with the intent to leverage those efforts to achieve your success. At the integrated stage, we ask the questions, what's our strategy? Where do we need to standardize across teams, across managers? How can we connect DEIB work up and down the organization? What is our full sphere of influence, both internally and externally? Reaching this level requires humility and experimentation to learn what works and what doesn't. Leaders of companies with long-standing and celebrated DEIB programs must be modest enough to change course if what they are doing isn't working, but to continue to iterate, and not give up. Finally, at the sustainable stage, the questions at this stage are, what systems and structures do we need to create and continuously evolve? Sophisticated commitment to DEIB requires continuous improvements by continually reassessing strategies and initiatives as the organization grows and as the world changes. And why does it matter again? It matters because of the employee experience. Once you've determined your company's stage of DEIB maturity and understand the appropriate efforts associated with it, along with your company's unique circumstances, it's helpful to overlay the employee life cycle when determining the actual activities on which you'll focus. Here is a typical life cycle that represents the experience of an employee from pre-hire through exit. The idea is that there are activities along each stage of an employee's life cycle or journey that work to create and/or improve diversity, equity, inclusion, and ultimately belonging. Let's take a closer look at talent acquisition since it's at the beginning of the life cycle. I've arrayed examples of actions or efforts that range from easily accessible and don't require much budget to more aspirational, sophisticated, which often do require resources. At the accessible end of the spectrum, things that you can do or activities that you can employ, pun intended, in your talent acquisition practice is to ask for referrals from your network and from internal employer resource groups in your workforce. Use keywords and hashtags in LinkedIn searches, for instance, pronouns, LGBTQIA+, neurodiverse are all examples of keywords that you can use in your search to derive results that you're looking for. Join online communities within LinkedIn again, Facebook, Slack, etc., in your particular industry and engage, post. Use keywords to find the types of communities in which you want to belong and engage. Ask your hiring managers to assist. Engage with targeted chambers of commerce, HBCUs, professional associations, all of whom have the type of audience that you're looking to tap into. Manually or using technology, remove identifiers in resumes before distributing them to the hiring team to reduce conscious or unconscious bias. Train your hiring team in equitable interview techniques and standardize your selection process. And seek diverse hiring teams. On the aspirational side, some examples would be purchase subscriptions to AI tools to attract, source, onboard, and train. Some examples, although there are many out there, would be Textio, which is an augmented writing tool that helps you optimize the language you use in job postings to attract the broadest, most diverse, qualified candidate pool possible. When sourcing, some examples are Mogul or Fletcher, who basically do the same. Source the kind of talent that you're looking for to achieve a diverse workforce. As it relates to recruiting, anonymize your resumes, as I mentioned before. And there are tools out there that can do it for you if you don't want to do it manually. Spend marketing money to post jobs on DEI dedicated job boards or attend relevant job fairs. Those are just some examples, from accessible to aspirational, depending on your budget and resources. In summary, we've discussed the components, definitions, and distinctions of DEIB: diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I introduced the 5 stages of DEIB maturity so that you could evaluate what stage your company is in and what activities make the most sense based on your company's vision, mission, objective, and business dynamics and challenges. We have reviewed some examples of relevant activities in talent acquisition, and for next steps, think about and ask yourself and your colleagues, what lessons have you learned from your personal and professional experiences? And what practices can you add to your company's efforts to create or promote a diverse, equitable, inclusive, and one in which all employees belong organization? Thank you for listening. If you or anyone you know might be interested in further discussing this topic or any other, don't hesitate to contact me by emailing or calling. Growth operators would love to be included in your network of help. Thanks again.